Hello, and welcome to this episode of Gondor Calls for Ale, a Middle-earth strategy battle games podcast. I am, of course, your host, Sam Gallagher, and I am not joined by my brother, Ben. That's right, I'm going solo for this episode. So I apologize, as I will probably go on and on and on. As I love the sound of my own voice, if you're a regular viewer or listener, you will know that I tend to talk quite a lot, and there's nobody here to stop me. So who's to say when, if I'll ever stop? But before we get into the long, rambling main subject that is going to be this episode, we have to do the best part of every episode of Gondor Calls for Ale, which is, of course, the ale. So I put this question to myself, what am I drinking? I answer the question of what am I drinking with a Burder beer. That's right, leading by example is thirsty work. And with a Burder beer in hand, you can be cunning and refreshed at the same time. Almost said so enjoy. Nobody's here to enjoy it with me. Nobody else is drinking a Burder beer, so I'll enjoy it. You guys probably won't. So, what are we talking about in this episode? Well, we've had on the day of recording this, which is August 8th, I think. It is, in fact, August 8th. I think many people have, a very exciting day in the Middle-earth strategy battle games community. So exciting that I had to do a podcast episode all by myself. That's right. Ben is unavailable. I'm going to make up a reason. He is out hunting. He's hunting and gathering in the wilds to supply food and ale for our table. If you would like more of Ben on an episode and you're concerned that he is not here to record with me, I strongly consider checking out our Patreon, because of course, if we had more Patreons, Ben wouldn't have to go out and do these things. No, that's a joke. Ben is just out of the country on a hike, long thing, trek, I suppose. And this was such a big day in the Middle-earth world that I wanted to do an episode about it. But on the non-joking side, the Patreons, we really appreciate all of you, and it really, really does help us make all of these episodes. So if you enjoy the show, would like some additional episodes, and would like to help support us, please check it out. So what are we talking about in this episode? You may have gathered from my beer, from me insinuating that it's been a good day for Middle-earth. And that is, of course, all of the previews that we've had today. Yes, August 8th it is today, and we've had some fantastic previews. I am unbelievably excited. If you somehow missed all of this, then definitely check out Warhammer Community and read the articles. It's awesome. If you're viewing this from the future, you've probably already been experiencing some of the exciting stuff. But I just wanted to go through, talk about it, give you some of my reactions. For many reasons, and I will tell you why, but first I'm going to start by painting you a picture of my day, a little bit of what happened, because it'll partially explain why I really wanted to do this episode. So I have a bunch of friends. Well, I have a friend. No, I have friends who are actively checking, or actively check the Warhammer Community website. I do myself. I usually check around like 10 or 11, because by then most of the articles are out. But I was working away this morning, got a text from a friend who was like, there are werewolves! And I was like, oh man, this can mean but one thing. They must have posted an article on Warhammer Community, and he knows that I love the Lord of the Rings. This is, of course, Jake, who has been on the show. Definitely check the episodes he's out in. Always a good time. So I rushed myself over to Warhammer Community, and what an article it was. I was just absolutely blown away by all of these previews. I was like, this all looks awesome. Basically, every scroll down, every part further down the page, I was that much more excited. And then I was running out to go grab some, whatever. I put my phone down and was leaving. And as I was getting into my car, I got another text in a group chat, like, oh man, like what a cool day for Middle-earth, or something, or like this looked really cool or something. And I was like, oh, we must be talking about these previews that I've already seen. But no, there was a second article in the day, which was all about how there's going to be a new edition. There's going to and I was hopping up and down. I was so excited. And of course, all of this was made. I was made so much harder because I couldn't give Ben a call, because normally I would have been like, "Oh, Ben, did you see all this stuff?" Because he's in England right now, not attending Ardicon, which is around the same time, which is why these previews are here. He's, as I said, he's off on a hike, and we were visiting family and stuff. Anyway, so there was no Ben, so I was getting like super excited, just like with like my words don't express, as you can hear or see now, all alone, all by myself. And I thought to myself that perhaps it was time to do an episode by myself and share my excitement and take a look at some of this stuff together as audience member of Gondor Calls for Ale. And I will talk about things, and I'm now going to do a little bit of the cool, I know how technology works, and attempt to share my screen, or share a window of these Warhammer community articles. I don't know if I'm supposed to do that. Who's to say? But I'm going to. I'm assuming, since they put it out for the general public, that it doesn't matter if I do this. But if you want to see them not on a much smaller screen and you want to get the full glory, definitely check out Warhammer Community. Here it is, the first one. So this is the one where I assumed there were werewolves involved, because this Jake was like, "Oh God, there are werewolves." Jake, being the father of monsters, would have been very exciting. So yeah, here we go. We've had our once a month update on all this new stuff for the supplement that's coming out, that we now know is the Rise of Samgmar, the worst faction to play against in the game. That's probably not actually true, but I don't really enjoy them. So here we go. Yeah, we've had The Road Goes Ever On, and last month we got this little preview guy, where actually it's on all the various Facebook groups, people have been really dead on of what they think. So somebody was saying Burda's got a new hat. Somebody was saying, people were saying evil men of Khandoom, all of that stuff. Somebody photoshopped it into the Get Off the Road diorama, which has been very funny when people do that, because I guess everyone was bummed about that release, which, fair enough, it was the only release we got, I get that, but it was still awesome. Anyway, we go on. So here we go. It is, in fact, Warriors of Khandoom, evil men in the service of the Witch King of Angmar, who garrison his fortress, the most northern tip of the Misty Mountains. It is these men that the Witch King unleash at the side of his orcish armies as he seeks to bring ruin to the realm of Arnor. I'm not going to read it all out. You're welcome to, because I will mess it up and that will be embarrassing for me. These guys, awesome, super cool. We're putting on our competitive Lord of the Rings glasses. We got shields on them, which is nice, shield and spear. So that's a pretty solid option. This guy's obviously got a mace, which special strikes, who cares? But spear and shield has got to be good. It is kind of funny that I don't think they look super. Oh, and a banner, obviously. Super Middle Earthy to me. They're, they. I don't know. I mean, I love them. I think they look awesome. Will I buy some? Absolutely. But yeah, they don't. I think interesting, because we get into the point where this is Games Workshop's creation of something that that's not really in the books. I don't know. I don't think so. I've read the Silmarillion and the Children of Hurin, but anyway, not in a book that I know of. Maybe it is. Please let me know if you know there is one, and I will go find it. But it won't be a proper, it's not a sort of a modern story, right? It's a history kind of thing with those books. So, and they're not in movies, so Games Workshop's creation of something, and they obviously have the specific aesthetic, but I think they look awesome. I mean, they look so cool. Yeah. So we'll flip through some more spear dudes. It looks like it's. I'm assuming these are resin. I'm assuming this is going to be Forge World, because there are 2, 4, 6 of them that we've seen. So kind of like the Black Dragon Easterlings. Still super duper cool. Very excited. Yeah. I have predictions of what they may be, but we're getting a new edition, so who's to say? Things might change. And then we've got a nice picture of the Rise of Angmar book. 112 pages. That's pretty good, I think, as far as supplements go. I'm not prepared. Didn't think I would talk about this specifically, so I didn't bother to look at what the other ones are. I like this art. or picture, photograph. Hilariously, I think that is the Ringwraith from Get Off the Road. So get out of here, all of the people who didn't want to get off the road. You're getting it again. How many times can I say get in a sentence? And here we go. We've got Aldrach. You heard it here first. That's how it's pronounced. You got to in the back of it. Warlord of Khandoom. I guess they're into their maces. Awesome. Super cool model. It's got a little tactical rock. Some nice tattoos. The leader of the Warriors of Khandoom, a callous and barbaric, see, told you I'd mess it up, leader who will stop at nothing to slaughter the people of Arnor in the name of the Witch King. When he goes to war, Alrech is driven into a wild battle frenzy. I'm assuming the Embold is going to be a little teaser or a rule he's going to have, allowing him to declare a free heroic combat as long as he's killed something in the previous turn. That's super cool. I really like the idea of that. There are so many models now with like free heroic combats just off the bat, but I like that he has to kill something. So he's not getting it for the first turn. So you charge in and then you're like, am I going to call... He's going to have 3 might, right? He's got to have 3 might. Am I going to call the free hero or am I going to call the heroic combat to... let's, kill a couple models this turn and then get, basically every turn try and snowball into getting a free one? Or do you just say, well, the first turn, I'm not going to call the combat because hopefully I'm going to kill something, and then the next turn I'm going to get it for free, and blah, 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 blah. Who's to say? Awesome model. Man, their sculpting is so good. The only thing about all the awesome new models, if I had to pick something to complain about, is like, you're going to put these guys on the board, you're probably going to have some orcs, and those orcs are going to feel real dated. Like, all the new models are so nice, and then you put them next to the ones that are now 20 years old, and you're like, yeah, there's a big difference there. But that won't stop me. I'll cut all the orcs up and convert them all, and it'll be glorious. I mean, I was thinking about the same thing with the Arnor Knights we got previewed a while ago, where you're like, man, they look really good. I kind of want to buy double the amount I need to, like, use the bodies for... Warriors of Arnor on foot. And then we've got, oh, good lord, Frakrech. I have no idea. We're just going to call him the Vassal of the Witch King. Look at that. I was going to make up a name for him, but he came with one. So cool. All the raven feathers and the charms. A man of Khandoom with a fanatical devotion to the Witch King. Acts as his master's advocate in the northern fortresses. Though he doesn't possess any actual magical powers of his own, the men of Khandoom believe has been blessed by the Witch King himself, and that the incarnations of power he chants are able to conjure strength, swiftness, and durability within those who follow him. I actually had only skimmed this, and that's funny. I had read the part where he didn't have magic, because you look at him and you're like, oh, he's going to be casting spells. I kind of like that he's not. That's pretty cool. And then reading it, it's definitely... The question is it going to be like on a dice roll he does a thing? Is it going to be like he's got 4 will and you spend a point of will and get an aura? I kind of think that would be the best. Or is it going to be like the really annoying Sentinel situation where it's like he's clearly going to have 3 options to pick from? Well, I think clearly. I'm going to be entirely wrong, potentially. He's going to have 3 options to pick from, and just every turn he gets to do one. Now, if we're taking wild guesses at things, Conjure Strength. Ooh. Is that so? None of the. I'm gonna go with that's like reroll something. What it's like on a sliding scale of what I think it may be or what it could be. Right? It could be just straight +1 to wound, brutal. It weirdly could be +1 strength, which I don't think that there's anything like that outside of heroic strength. But I don't think there's anything like that in the game, and that would seem weird and like super. I'm definitely not as good as just +1 to wound. It could also be something like reroll 1s to wound, maybe. I don't know, something like that. Maybe it could be +1 straight. If it's +1 to wound in like an aura, 6 inches of him or something, that would be awesome. It'd be so good. Swiftness, that's got to be like plus to the move, right? That's like a spend a point of will, do a dice roll, or once. If it is the same, maybe it's like plus. So I think my initial guess, right, as I just said, plus some to movement. If it's the equivalent of a heroic march and it's free, that's insane. He would be in every single list that could take him. If it's +1 or 2 and it's free, still super duper good. If it's like spend a point of will for a march, that's pretty good. You could do a theme and not, you could like leave the captains at home and still have the march. Though, as I was talking about it, I could definitely see it being like, you get woodland creature. Situationally good, but definitely not super excited. And then durability, to me, that's got to be like a 6-up or 5-up Fury / Melbeth save is going to be my guess. It's got to be like he's got 5 will and you can spend it to do one of these ability. Maybe there's a mechanic he can get some back. Either way, super cool, badass model. Very excited. And then we've got Aranath, the chief of the Dunedain, the son of Avandui. Rather than becoming the king, he became the first chieftain of the Dunedain. That obviously is related to Aragorn, his great grandpappy or something. A master of bow and an expert shot. So he's going to have expert shot. That's 2 shots a turn, I believe. Aranath leads the Rangers of the North into battle. His chieftain of the Dunedain special rules spur them onwards as they fight the corruption of Angmar. Awesome. Love that the Rangers are getting something. I've actually been playing a bunch with Rangers and highly enjoying it, and have been disappointed that they're not that great. What is the spurring them on going to be? I mean, I could see it being a similar thing to the banner of the Even Star, so Fearless and a banner for 6 inches. Maybe a banner and... I don't know. I would love to see it be like +1. If we're keeping, obviously in the new edition where they're potentially updating the army books, anything, who's to say? In the edition now, what I would love that to be would be like +1 fight value within X range of him. Certainly not unreasonable. There's plenty of that around to but getting all your Dunedain to fight 5 would be really, really awesome. Maybe like a 6-inch +1 fight and count as being in range of a banner. But you can't, obviously, with restrictions of because you wouldn't be able to take him with any of the other, well, I guess there are only 2, but with any of the named ones. So there'll be no Aragorn, right? There's going to be no Arathorn and no Halbarad. So otherwise the Rangers don't have access to a banner. So I could definitely see it being a, +1 X, or an ability and a banner within 6 inches. Super, super cool. And then we've got the Shadow, and also a beautiful model. Every time I look at these models, or new models coming out in Lord of the Rings, I'm like, ooh, is this a Golden Demon entry possibility? This guy definitely is. Also Tactical Rock. Won't be outdone by Alrach, the dude. Anyway, we've got the Shadow of Rundar. I love these names that are going to be impronounceable, but I'm hoping that this episode is out quick enough that everyone will be like, well, Sam Gallagher, we're officially going to be pronouncing it this way. So, perpetuate it. Make it happen, folks. Oh boy. Here we get into as I was scrolling through, getting excited. That's what happens when I get excited. I was like, ooh, well, quite clearly a Barrow Whitey kind of fella. A twisted and malign spirit bound to the service of the Witch King. Quite where the shadow of Rundar came from is a mystery, in fact, long since lost. It is said that the shadow of Rundar can manifest his own dark magics, appearing as a herald of doom for its armies. Those confronted by this spectral being will see their resolve ebb away, and the winds of fate seemingly abandon them. Man, it is super cool reading these aloud, because I actually pay attention to what I'm reading to. I also probably skimmed this one because I was like, named Barrow White, that's going to be terrible. Herald of, he's got to have, like, Harboring of Evil, right? Sounds like it. I'm imagining he's got Blades of the Dead. Herald of Doom, interesting. I don't know what that is. And then Dark Magics, as long as it's not Paralyze, I can deal with any other kind of magic, but if this is a Barrow White with Might and Paralyze, it would be the only, and it had Channel, it would be the only model able to call a heroic channeled Paralyze, which I want to say is, I'm going to look it up because this is all me, I want to say like heroically channeled, like a channeled Paralyze is like super oppressive, which is kind of hard because it's just oppressive without being channeled. Magic, I think. Yes, magical powers. It's kind of like the refreshing song is has the greatest channeled ability of all time, but nobody has it, and also might. And I don't think Tom can get might, so it doesn't matter at all. If I knew the alphabet, this would be much easier. I've passed it. Turns out, ooh boy, paralyzed. What's the channel version? Oh my god, it's so gross. At the end of each turn, the target remains paralyzed. They suffer a strength 5 hit. Sure, probably a good thing none of them have might. But it sounds like maybe he has curse, which removes fate, or if we're wildly speculating on like cool banana rules, maybe it's an aura that like fate is only on a 5+ around him. Man, can you imagine that? That would be so good. Anyway, super cool, awesome model, very pointy. Yeah. Again, I hate Arrow White, so I'm not as excited about this guy. But this guy, I'm enjoying his beer right now. Hill Troll Chieftain, an interesting upgrade for him. I mean, what a glow up. Look at this model, man. Oh, this is awesome. This is so good. This is just mind-bogglingly good compared to the old version. Burdur has returned with glorious new model befitting his status as a Hill Troll Chieftain. Alongside his new miniature, Burdur has a new legendary legion, awesome, that focuses around him and his unrelenting horde, utilizing his impressive cunning to gain an advantage over his foes. That's exciting. I'm so glad that we're going to give Angmar a different way to play Angmar. I'm 100% going to do this army. I feel vindicated as well, because I didn't do Beyondlings, I didn't do Easterlings, I didn't do like any of the new stuff that came out. So it gives me leave to do, because I'm 100% doing Arnor as well, so I'm just going to do it all. But yeah, it's interesting, because he was previously just a Troll Chieftain. Now he's a Hill Troll Chieftain. I wonder if there'll be new trolls. Curious. Yeah, what is the deal gonna be? He's got lead by example, as I noted in my beer, which is if he kills a hero or monster, he counts as a banner for Angmar people within 6 inches of him. He's obviously got throw stones, fight 6, strength 6, defense 6, 3 attacks, 3 wounds, courage 4, 3 might 1, will 1, fate, strike, strength, and challenge. 110 points. Yeah, it's so, again, it's bizarre with the new edition coming out, because we don't know, is this supplement going to be, whatever, I mean, I'm going to buy it either way, but is this going to be a release, and then in 6 months' time it's made redundant, because we're getting rid of all the old books, or is this one going to be like, we're actually redoing a bunch of the profiles in here, and it's still going to be valid in our next edition? Who's to say? If it is that way, this is going to be good in the next edition, are we going to see some changes to Burdur's statistics or special rules? Because if it's not that way, if it's just, I mean, well, it could go either way, but if it isn't that way, and he's going to stay exactly as he is now, you got to hope that his Legendary Legion gives him some, like, really cool benefits. I don't know what they would be. I'd love to see him get an extra will and fate in there if he's going to be your army leader. I'm not sure what they're going to do with the cunning thing, man. The only rules I can think of that are, like, tricksy cunning related are, is it Snaga, where he doesn't have to be part of heroic actions that are called. While super cool, doesn't necessarily feel like it fits for the army leader. Again, it could really be very cool, but maybe you have something like he calls a move and can move later in the turn and like lets his troops move in front of him. That would be super good. Or it's going to be, he can manipulate Maelstrom rolls or something. I'd take it. But yeah, I just absolutely love the model. Look at a little dead Arnor helmet on his base, and just what a model, man. I'm so excited. It's gonna be an expensive time. And then here we go, the Hill Trolls. Look at these dudes. Also, actually noting, unless these are a lot smaller than I think these are both Birder and the Hill Trolls. I think they've changed the base size. Obviously, they haven't changed the base size of the Hill Trolls because they didn't previously exist. I think they've changed Birder's base size, and I think the Trolls are on bigger bases. I'm guessing that these are 50s. Again, they could just be a little bit smaller than I'm expecting, but there's no way that's a 40. Absolutely no way. We've got the Hills of Angmar. Yeah, weird. Rundar. Oh, I guess Rundar is an area. Interesting. And the other lands are under the command of the Witch King are filled with more than just orcs and evil men. Hill Trolls can also be found roaming here. Unlike the Cave Trolls or Mordor Trolls, these creatures possess keener minds, and their Hill Troll intelligence, something also shared with Birdo, allows them to combat their enemies more effectively. So that, to me, implies that Birdo is getting this extra rule on his profile, but it could just be that he's getting it in the Legendary Legion. Like, Birdo gets Hill Troll intelligence. And what does Hill Troll intelligence do? Well, it allows them to combat their foes more effectively. How? Who's to say? It can't be just a straight, deals with Maelstrom, because these guys are, unless they can affect, the Captain's Warband, but then if Birdo has it, so really unsure. Could be something wild, and these models are wildly cool. I absolutely love both of them. Again, I'm assuming all of these models that I've scrolled by are Forge World resin. Would love it if they were plastic, but that's never going to happen. But it does assume, depending how they build, if the hands are separate, it looks like you could very easily do a little hand swap here and have slightly different poses. So I'm jazzed. I'm so jazzed. I don't know how many points they're going to be. I know nothing about them except for the fact that I'm going to have Birdo and a minimum 3 to 5 is my is what I'm thinking. I think they're probably going to be 120 points each. I'm going to be well, that's my entire army, but totally worth it. I'm excited. I love it. These are probably Birdo and the Hill Trolls are probably the things I'm most excited about from this preview. And I'm excited about it all. And then we've got werewolves. Yes, Jake was right. There are werewolves. Werewolves now. See, again, these don't look like 40s, which I'm sure these are 40s. I mean, I guess it's possible that they're not. They've got the Gothmog Warg patented mohawks. I like it. I dig it. I dig some werewolves. It's been long rumored that the Dark Lord has werewolves in his service, creatures that can change their form. However, over the ages, they have devolved, and by the time the Witch Kings rise, they have long since lost their ability to shapeshift, instead appear as great vicious wolves. Such is the ferocity of these werewolves that when they pounce, their feral charge can send their foes sprawling to the ground. Yes, and then we have This Is All, Folks, as well as other all of this, as well as the other Middle-earth reveals from the past months, will be available to pre-order soon. So keep your eyes peeled on Warhammer Community for more details. I'm hoping soon is a week, but it's probably going to be. We're going to talk about the werewolves in a minute, but now we've gone on this little tangent. If I were a betting man, I would say it would be in November, because that's when Throne of Skulls is. So it'll either be before Throne of Skulls, so you could get this stuff at Throne of Skulls, or it'll be pre-order at Throne of Skulls. It feels more likely to be before, so you can get, because I think quite often, well, no, I'm betting it's Throne of Skulls, because they always do everyone can pre-order them, but if you happen to be at Throne of Skulls, you can buy them, you sons of guns, because I want to buy them, and I want to buy them now. Feral Charge. I'm guessing these are technically infantry models, and they'll effectively get a cavalry bonus. Sounds like maybe it's better than that, but I mean, +1 attack and knocking to the ground is just super good. So definitely what I'm imagining from that, without counting as cavalry. Yeah, I guess I was gonna say probably move 8, but then but maybe 10, 8 to 10. Either way, super cool, very good, beautiful models. We went from being Hoanor is going to be the one that's getting released, and it's really nice, to definitely Angmar's the winner, I think, of this release, which makes sense. They are in fact rising. So that was all of that. And then we go back to Warhammer Community. And not only we got more than one. We got two whole articles in one day. That's like as many as we get in 2 months usually. And that's right, a new edition of the Middle-earth strategy battle game is coming. We've seen a host of new reveals for the Middle-earth strategy battle game in the past few months, in the run-up to the Rise of Angmar supplement, from the Noble Knights of Arnor, the Doom King Eonor, to the Vicious Orc Scavenger Nazthrak. But if you thought that was the biggest news this year, you haven't seen nothing yet. Today we reveal something special for the Middle-earth strategy battle game. Is around the corner. 6 years after the release of the Return of the Lord of the Rings Battle of Pelennor Fields, a whole new edition of the game is galloping towards us. Holy cow! Super excited. We talk about shiny. Did I read this? I'm going to read this. Very exciting time for Lord of the Rings fan. Refreshed and updated rules for the game and their armies. I hope they don't change too many of the core rules. I think that I really like the core rules. Would absolutely love it if the army books got updated. That would be so fantastic. Also, it'd be cool if they did a new match play guide. Like, if, even if we keep the same missions, if they were like, here are 6 new ones or something. Or do the full 18, man. Give us a whole bunch of new ones and just like cycle through them. There'll be a shiny new rules manual to go with the new edition, as well as new supplements for the Army of the Lord of the Rings and the Army of the Hobbit. Each of these will contain rules for the miniatures from the respective movie trilogies. Every profile has been reworked, so that units and characters' actions and on-screen presence are even better represented on the tabletop, and your adventures in Middle-earth will feel exactly as they should. We'll have loads more to share in the coming weeks. Yes! So stay tuned to the Warhammer community for all the latest updates. What else does the future hold for the Middle-earth? Well, we couldn't possibly speculate, and then we've got the War of the Rohirrim. I guess that's why it's galloping towards us. Oh, man. So, this is super exciting. I'm sure people are going to be like, nah, it's going to be terrible or something, or they're going to mess up the rules. Whatever, man. I think that they've been doing an awesome job with all the rules. I'm super excited. I'm really, really jazzed for a new edition. I wasn't actively playing the Hobbit strategy battle game when we turned into the Middle-earth strategy battle game. I got into it at that re-release. Both Ben and I did. So I'm actually really excited to be part of a transitioning to a new edition, like, getting a new starter box, whatever it is. I've already texted Ben and be like, we're taking a long weekend at the very least when we have a grubby little pause on this, and we're just going to play a whole bunch. I'm really, 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 really excited. I'm very optimistic. I think essentially the core rules of the game have basically remained the same through its many incarnations, so I'm not like worried about that, which is cool. But yeah, I think I'm imagining when Ben's back, we'll do another sort of chat. Probably more wild speculations about what the new edition is going to change, what we hope, what we would like to see change or not change. I mean, it's just going to be awesome. It's going to be a good time flipping through the different books. Be like, oh man, did you see this? But I think potentially the most exciting thing about this, which I'm not sure if I'm the only, I'm sure other people have thought about this, but there's been, for the last year and a half, there's been plenty of people who are saying the game is dead, and what I say to you is, definitely not. But I think also you've got to imagine that this means they have retained the rights to the game, which was the big, are they going to keep them? Is this going to happen? And it seemed like they've had some potential challenges with that, which they appear to have overcome. Because the War of the Rohirrim, I believe, is that Helm Hammerhand animated movie that's supposed to be coming out, which is a New Line Cinema movie. So they have to have kept the rights. And one thing that I've heard people, or I've speculated, is that one of the issues, or one of the friction points of retaining the rights was whatever company now owns it, it's Asmodee or Asmodee's parent company, is like, okay, you can have these, but you need to be like actively, you need to produce more stuff, you need to have a full team, you need to blah 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 blah. Like if we're gonna let you have these rights, you need to like be using them. Which, fingers crossed, that is the case, and that Games Workshop was like, sure, fine, we'll make more stuff, we'll have a more active team, because that would mean more Middle-earth, man. It'll be so good. Anyway, this is about half an hour, just over half an hour of me nerding out, scrolling through stuff, giving you my thoughts and feelings, speculating wildly on what all of this could mean. But it certainly means I'm excited. I know it means Ben's excited. It also means there'll be plenty of more of Gondor Calls for Ale. Gondor's got to call for a lot of ale to get through all of this new stuff. And yeah, so what a time, man. What a time to be a fan of the Middle-earth strategy battle game, the best game that Games Workshop produces. And I am so excited for this. So that's it. This is this episode wrapping up. Slowly but surely, we're getting to the end. I just want to say thank you so much for listening, for viewing. If you are listening, please go and subscribe to YouTube, even just as build my ego up. It's nice to see that number slowly tick up. As I said previously, please consider checking out the Patreon. It really, really, really does help us, and we really appreciate it. Just kidding. We weren't done, because I have now ended the video and decided how I'm going to be releasing some videos or episodes. So I'm filling it in now. So we'll see. Maybe I'll do a splendid enough job of editing that you would never know that I did all that, but I've told you. So anyway, so hopefully, or the plan is this will release tomorrow as I'm recording it, so this will be the new episode that's out, and then the following Friday we'll release the planned one, which was Ben's attendance of Historicon, and you'll get 3 weeks in a row of an episode every week, so that's exciting, and this will be more relevant to the reveals that were yesterday. So for the second time, goodbye now. Thank you for listening to Gondor Calls for Ale. We hope you have enjoyed this episode. We, at Gondor Calls for Ale, are officially sponsored by the Baron of Dice, the producer of premium wargaming dice. These beautifully hand-swirled resin dice have no micro bubbles and are therefore perfectly balanced. With over 3,000 variants and unique designs, nearly every tabletop gaming system is represented. So check out the description of this episode for a link and a discount code. Go buy yourself some new dice and let the good times roll. We at Gondor Calls for Ale are not associated with Games Workshop, New Line Cinema, or the Tolkien Estate. We hope we have not misrepresented or offended anyone. These recordings are strictly recollections of games we've played and are not commentaries on the character or competence of our opponents. They are intended purely for entertainment, and we hope they will be taken as such. You can find us on Patreon, see the link in the description. Supporting Gondor Calls for Ale there helps us continue to produce these episodes. You can find us on Instagram at Gondor_calls_for_ale. Feel free to send us a message there. Or on Facebook as Gondor Calls for Ale, another great place to send us a message. Or you can send us an email at gondorcallsforale@gmail.com. As Boromir, Captain of the White Tower, once said, remember today, listener, today this episode was good.